Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to be working on the 33 3-window project. So last winter was kind of the last time we worked on this car, and now that the engine is actually getting worked on, we could start continuing work on the car. So the last few videos that we did on the car, I worked on the trunk opening, I worked on getting the doors to open and shut, and kind of function. We got floor in it, etc., etc. Now the car is kind of solid, and we can start working on like steering and all the different stuff like that to get set up. So the car has a 44 dash in it. It came with a 34 steering column in it, and we're going to work on getting that to fit up today, and also figure out what we're doing with the pedal setup, and hopefully get this thing steering and maybe our pedal situation figured out by the end of this video. So let's get started. All right, so this car, for anybody that doesn't remember, is heavily channeled, if it's not obvious, and it has a 44 dash in it with a 34 steering box, and has like a 40 steering column or a later steering column tube with column drop, and also a 44 style steering wheel. So I don't know if I'm keeping all of this. I always, when I do these cars that are kind of were old hot rods, I try and, even though this car has no real like known history, I still try and retain a lot of the parts or ideas that were on the car, and sometimes you do have to change things out. So I don't know if the column drop's going to work, or this column tube is the right length. Sometimes you find that when this stuff was built, they just kind of whacked something down and threw it in, and it ends up being too short. We have to lengthen the column or whatever. So I'm going to get the steering box back in the car here. They had made a custom firewall in this thing, which I'm probably going to be changing or making a new one that's a little better. I mainly don't like that the battery tray that they put in there, which is just a common thing they would do back in the day. But I think it's kind of ugly. Of course it would hit on everything. So they had slotted holes in this frame on this to, I guess, try and figure out their steering column height. They just kind of started with wherever and just slotted the holes. So for now, we're going to leave that alone. I probably will eventually, we'll be welding up the holes so it's just a single hole where we want it. But that was their way of making the steering box adjustable, I'm guessing. Or they just couldn't figure out where it was supposed to sit, and they just... As you can see, they got the 40 dash here, and they have this drop that it actually almost lines up with the stock holes in the 40 dash. I'd have to, maybe if I shorten the tube just a tiny bit, we probably would be where we need it to be, or slide this, if I could slide this drop down a little bit, we could probably get that to work. So I'm going to wire this up in here, and I want to see, just kind of roughly sitting in the car, if this is going to even remotely work. I have no idea, but got a piece of foam in here to kind of replicate a flat seat we're going to have. Just from first glance, I think this is going to be, steering column's going to need to be lengthened, I think. All right, so crawl into this thing. And I can already, I guess the steering column isn't too long or short. I thought it would be. Oh boy. So actually, if I get the steering column up kind of where it's supposed to be, like that, it's really not too bad.
It looks right there.
My eyes look a little high, but also can lean back. This car's so big you can really recline it. So I think that steering column's not. The only thing I would do is maybe raise it up a little bit so that it's up off my legs. So if I get rid of that, if I make a column drop that fits up in the 40 dash a little better, that might work better. But the height, you know, if it was pushed up against, the height isn't too bad. It's right, right at the top of the dash.
Yep, it's in the right spot.
My arms are about right for where it's at. I thought it was going to be way too short because it looked like it was really close. But yeah, I think if you're leaning back like this, it's not too bad. You don't want to be laying down too much, so I think something like that. That feels like my eyes are, when you lean back, are more kind of centered in the...
It looks well proportioned.
Yeah. So I think I'll leave the steering box how it is. I just got to make a mount to fit this 40 dash how I want. And then that would probably get it pretty good. There's like so much leg room in this car.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the firewall kind of like juts out. Like, I mean, I can lay down in this car.
Window, yeah. Right? That's way different than a 5 window.
Yeah, you got so much more room in a 3 window. It's crazy. Yeah. Especially when you take out that tray and everything.
Yep.
Alright, so I got the steering box or column bolted to the dash. I drilled a couple of holes and was able to make that all work. So that's probably the first time the steering box has been bolted in with this 40 dash because it never was before. So I have this all bolted in. I don't really know what they were doing with this here. I don't know if at some point the steering box was higher. Currently nothing really is an issue there. It's kind of odd. But what we did was put a steering arm on here, tightened it all down, and put our link on here. But what happens is the link obviously is wider, and it runs in to our wishbones there because they're split and they come out to the outside of the frame. They now are hitting. So what we're going to do is tried and true method. We're going to take the torch and I'm going to heat up in around here, and we're going to bend the arm in just a little bit, and then we'll heat it back down here and get it back out so that it's all even, and it should clear the wishbones then. So we just have to make sure that we don't touch that bolt there. So we're going to take this little link off. I'm just going to use this as kind of like a checker after we heat stuff, and we're going to turn the arm so that it's lined up with this bolt here, and then we're going to heat it until it just almost touches, and then we can adjust the bottom. So let's get the fire wrench out. Tell me when you start feeling it move a little bit.
Yeah. Starting to go a little bit more.
No offense, but I'm going to get out of the way in case it slips.
No problem. Good idea.
Yeah, I think it's starting to move though.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see where we got a little bit of bend in it now. Yep, there it is.
Lights on? Okay. Alright, so let's pop that socket on. Make sure we have clearance here.
Turn it up a little further. The other way.
there for the socket. And
Oh yeah, it's cold and clear now. You're above it again. Yep.
yeah, and then right there's the lock, and we're like just a quarter inch off the frame. That's about as close as you can get everything to
Yep.
flow. All right, cool.
Yep. Got a nice bend, a nice arc.
Yeah, and you can't really see. It's not like a crazy Z where you could see that it's got this.
Yeah, it's very. That's why I thought we were almost back to where we started already, but there's so much more room there.
Yeah.
Because it just looks great.
Don't want anybody to know you did anything. This all just fits just like that. No
That's it. Yeah, it's nice. Goes together.
We got our special, original, right from Speedway, our original looking weathered pitman arm.
Mm-hmm.
They even preheat it.
Right, you put a little heat damage on it?
Yep.
Sure.
Make it look how they did it back in the day. All right, so we got the pitman arm here, all heated and bent, and everything cleared. And I dug around in the stash and found an original drag link that is all one piece and has the links we need on it. It has the ball and socket is in here with a threaded portion. It can go in this arm. I'm using this arm temporarily. I actually borrowed it from Mike. This one actually is like a drop, or you can use it to rise, to lift up the drag link and get it where you need it. For now, this works for this car with what I have laying around. So I'm gonna put this guy on here. So this side just pops on, and there's a little flathead portion that you tighten down here. I'm just gonna tighten it up by hand, and we'll snug it with our tool. And this kind of sits down below, right in line with the radius rod. So you gotta put it on like this, and then we gotta spin the wheel. Like everything, it's a little bit of a secret handshake to get it all together. So that goes in like that. Now we can use our castle nut. In there, it's hooked up there. I will tighten that up a little bit more, take the slack out of it, but we have steering. Go figure, we have steering. Crazy. So I'm going to tighten this stuff up, but we should be pretty close here. So we're going to check the pedals I got laying around before we're done this video, just to see what we have for pedals on the car. All right, so we have a couple sets of pedals laying around. We got this set in Oregon from the Berlinville racer that he had used on one of his cars over the years. I'm not really sure what it's from, or
British or
we don't really know. It's
Asian, we're not sure.
It's something pretty cool. And then we have this set. My buddy Jim, I had bought these years ago from buddy Jim Krause. He had these hanging on the wall, and I've just had them sitting around, some kind of neat old chrome ones. But my concern is these are really short. So I'm going to test these out, and this is just to kind of foreshadow the next video, but see what pedals we can use, and maybe none of them will fit, I don't know. But this car had no master cylinders on it when I got the car, or voltage regulators, so I kind of, like I always do, lined up the holes, and I found some chrome master cylinders to put on there, one for the clutch, one for the brake, just like the Schroll car, voltage regulator. So we want a pedal setup like this that has, you know, the push rods for both, so either of these would work out pretty good. So I'll try and sit in here and see what's going to work with my feet. So something like that. That one kind of sits on a bolt, so I've and we have steering now. Yeah, I think these, well, I guess, yeah, I don't like how far these ones stick out from the firewall. Makes my feet, surprisingly with boots, it's not too bad. Because my feet are actually right, about in the right spot with those. But you're kind of like, it just doesn't feel, you kind of have to be up like that. Maybe that arm would be more out like that. So yeah, I think they're so short that my shins are on the steering wheel. Or you'd want to be more. So I think those pedals just need to be longer.
Can you flip the top bracket upside down? Take it off.
What, to make them hang?
If you take the pedals off of the shaft there and then turn it upside down, it'll be hanging down. You'll have longer pedals.
So smart, Steve.
Every now and again.
So it does drop it lower. The push rod, I mean that's down at the ground now, but the push rod's way too low now. I think I was thinking about sitting up further, and my legs would be like under the cow. This. I think that's where the problem is. Like where it's putting the pedals are way out here, so you have to sit back so my shin is at the steering wheel.
All right.
Where I wanted my thighs under it, like you would expect a car to be. So I think that's the first problem, is those brackets put the pedal way out there. I'm already feeling like I'm going to be making a custom pedal setup. I see that in my future. This one's probably even worse.
No.
Pedals are plenty long enough, so you can mount that to the cow top.
Pedals are bent too far, that's all.
Even just to put them there.
Clamps?
All the clamps.
All of them.
These two big clamps are going to be out of service for.
When we pulled this cart out, I was like, oh, there's all those little clamps I've been looking for that are holding the grill in place.
Oh yeah.
So that's, yeah, see, so the problem is we need to get this mounted where I'd like the pedals would be like way down.
Yeah.
Which if we had floor mounted pedals would probably be where they would come out. So.
You have an extra set of 33/4 pedals at the.
Yeah, but it doesn't, I don't know if that's going to work with all of this stuff that's going on here. Yeah, I think, because where I really want the pedals, it needs to be,
Yeah.
I would have to have the pedals sweep down and back. Almost put like a C shape in them.
Yeah, because right there, I mean, that won't work at all. You can't
No.
get your legs on those pedals.
No. So this isn't something quick, like just quick mock it up and.
It's not movie magic?
No.
We're not done?
No, this one is not movie magic, sadly.
Damn it.
I think this is going to be some heating and welding and torch, and
And then you're going to throw them in the trash.
then I might throw them in the
Right,
trash.
build his own, yeah.
Yeah, I may end up just using this as a reference. Yeah, because if the pedals had the right shape to them, that they were like C-shaped going that way, then they would still have the length to them. They would just have to hook around the firewall
Yeah.
to push out. So I think,
Back to the drawing.
yeah, back to the draw. We will see. That's going to be its own video, I think. But at least it's cool to sit in.
Yeah.
All right, so the pedal situation is not going to be a quick job. Unfortunately, the pedals are nowhere near fitting, and we're pretty sure that this car was never on the road when it was chopped and channeled. Maybe at some point it was unchanneled and it ran the hanging pedals on it at some point. But in the configuration it is in now, it definitely was not. In fact, if anybody that's been watching the videos or remembers, I actually raised the channel up on this car like 3 or 4 inches. So it is unchanneled, even though it's got a crazy channel job on it. It's been raised up. So there's no way that they had those pedals working with like a normal set of Anson pedals or anything. So I'm gonna probably have to build a set of pedals from scratch to work with this car and fit with how they had everything going. Because of it having the LaSalle transmission and the heavy channel job and all that stuff, I'd rather have the hanging pedals if I can make them work versus trying to fit all of that in underneath of the car. Fitting an extra master cylinder and all of that stuff is kind of a pain in the butt, and I really like this look, to be completely honest. So, but on a good note, small victories. We got the steering all hooked up. I got the steering box and column bolted up to the dash so I can now sit in it and make noises and feel cool like I'm cruising. But I do need to go back over it and figure out the steering hoop situation and some of that stuff. But at least now we can steer the car when we push it around the shop, and that is a big step in cars that are this far apart. So thank you guys for following along. We're hopefully be doing a bunch of updates on this car throughout the winter. So if you like this car, definitely make sure you subscribe and follow along, because we're going to be doing a bunch of updates. Thanks guys. Catch you later.